A bit of randomness and triviality today, with barely a nod to the gangstalking. Over the last few days the weather has been almost perfect. The sun has shone, but importantly there's been that essential breeze which makes things more bearable. I didn't take my camera, but I did have my camcorder and recorded some skyward looking footage which I'll show later in this video. Speaking of sky-based things, I was reminded that a few nights ago whilst in the car I became aware of something that sounded like a plane overhead, but it wasn't any conventional plane or aircraft because the sound made was not that of any typical plane I'm familiar with hearing in the sky here in southeast London, and I don't believe it was a drone either. It was about 4 AM and within half an hour or thereabouts this same sound was repeated, lasting for about 20 seconds. I couldn't be bothered recording or trying to record, probably because of tiredness and having to climb from the back of the car to the front to see out the window, so I've no idea what this was, but I have heard the same strange sounding noise on a few other occasions. In the following video, an ITV London news segment shows what is alleged to be a police surveillance plane gathering information secretly on Londoners. But I'm sure if the sound from this spy plane was recordable, it wouldn't have sounded like the one a few nights ago, which I've heard at other times when in the car.
Next, are the police using planes circling over London to tap into our phone calls? The Met's coming under increasing pressure to explain why it's commissioning light aircraft to fly in regular patterns over the city. It says it can't comment for operational security reasons, but politicians say the force should come clean and let us know what it's doing and how much it costs. Our correspondent Simon Harris has been investigating.
An aircraft paints a bizarre pattern in the sky over South London. Plane spotters hooked on this radar tracking website couldn't quite believe what they were seeing. Why was it going round and round at 10,000 feet? And why didn't it have a call sign? It was identified as this twin-engine Cessna, linked in the past to a shadowy fleet of spy planes said to be operated by the Metropolitan Police. Boris Johnson, as head of the Mayor's Office for Policing and Crime, was asked last month to explain what the aircraft do and how much they cost to operate. He replied saying, "For operational security reasons, it is not appropriate for Mopac to respond." The Cessna is one of a pair. This is the other one, which are thought to carry out surveillance operations over London and other parts of the country. Reports suggest the two are used to eavesdrop on mobile phone calls, but no one is saying.
Londoners have to know that the police operate within the rule of law. We all believe in freedom within the rule of law. They're here to keep us safe. I think they do a fantastic job, but I'm sorry, I can't comment on a particular operational matter.
The aircraft are based at Farnborough Airport to the southwest of London. Some politicians say Scotland Yard should at least admit they exist.
I don't expect to know every detail of every operation the police are carrying out, but they should admit whether they have these planes or not. You can't hide aircraft in the sky. And also we need to know what it's costing the public purse. You know, for security reasons, I don't expect us to know every detail, but come on, what's it costing us?
Jenny Cole, a security expert at RUSI, the Royal United Services Institute, says she gets why the police are being secretive.
That's perhaps something that's hard for the public to understand, that the police aren't being secretive because they're doing something they don't want you to know about. They're doing something they don't want the criminals to know about. And unfortunately that means they have to not be as completely open as they might be with the public as well. But there are very, very good reasons for that.
But in the age of the internet, even the secret state is finding it harder to keep a secret. Simon Harris, ITV News.
On the subject of possible UFOs and not police spy planes, I was parked in one of the roads I used to use sporadically, hoping for a quieter sleep in the car, and again it was in the early hours when I felt compelled for whatever reason to look out the car window and look skywards, and on that occasion saw 3 craft moving slowly across the sky. They were unevenly spaced but were on the same trajectory. They didn't look like planes or helicopters, and again, annoyingly, I didn't try to record this strange phenomenon, but perhaps the best opportunity and the most obvious example of a UFO sighting occurred in daylight on a sunny day as I sunbathed on the balcony at a previous address in Peckham. Moving slowly and quite high in the sky were a number of what I will call unidentified flying objects, all glinting a gold colour, and they were in a triangular formation with one craft at the front, then maybe two in the next row, three the next, etc., with possibly 10 or more at the back of this formation. I'm sure if I had a camera at the time I would have raced at the chance to record such a rare sighting, so I couldn't have had one at hand at the time. If I saw this from Peckham in broad daylight, then I could not have been the only person to have witnessed it. We're going back quite a number of years now. The triangular formation seen here of conventional jets was not what I witnessed. What I saw was a formation of gold, stealth jet looking craft, but in very tight formation and travelling slowly overhead. They not only formed a triangle but individually looked triangular too. I don't recall hearing any sound as they passed, but they were very high. If they were UFOs, then they probably belonged to the military. The technologies being used to track, spy on and harass us targets, I suspect also originate from the military, with the surveillance tech years ahead of what's available or known about now, and I'll cite my perhaps unique experience as evidence of this. The technologies that are responsible for the invisible pummeling I and others receive, and are often referred to as no-touch torture, are known about and have been in existence for years, though they've no doubt been tweaked and become more portable over the years. But the spying tech is, as I stated before, incredible and incredibly invasive. So why is no one investigating any of these technologies used so successfully in the gangstalking program? Putting the cowardly mainstream media to one side for their lack of journalistic integrity, and it's really only mainstream media that has the money to investigate, I'll stay with the skyward theme with my appreciation of nature and those fluffy white wispy things, angels, no, I mean clouds. Pareidolia is where people have a tendency to see familiar things, especially faces, in random unrelated objects. I occasionally see faces in clouds, some human, some animal, and not always with the kindest of expressions. A few of my photos might demonstrate this, and in the first I see a face of an old person, eye or eyes shut, and with a gentle look. In the second, this big-chinned dude has a great head of hair, and I'm quite jealous. In the sky above the America statue on one of the corners of the Prince Albert Memorial in Kensington Gardens, I see more than one face, but if you're looking via a mobile phone, you probably won't see anything. During my cycle ride yesterday, I did a little bit of recording. I thought the sun rays gleaming off this building very striking. I also like the billowy clouds above Westminster Abbey. It wasn't until I arrived at the car for an afternoon rest that I began recording the wispier clouds where faces might be seen. But to repeat what I said earlier, if you're using a mobile phone, you just might not see anything at all. I'll end with a short clip where a male is trying to make a move on my bird. And it's quite upsetting to watch for me because not only does the love of my life not resist his advances, but seems to be encouraging them. On realising I was about to snap the young whippersnapper's neck, he was off. And I tried to explain shortly after to my civil partner my feelings about her flirty and flighty behaviour, but she responded that I was henpecking her for no good reason. She said in her pidgin English that I'm her live partner and no other could hold a candle to me, which I did find a bit rich. So not only are the cops gaslighting and covering up their involvement in the gangstalking program, but my civil partner is gaslighting me as well. I did get my own back last night when I invited two very attractive females into my passion wagon.
I'm coming out.
Are you smelling me, are you?
Come on. Come on.